Hi everyone, I'm really sorry I haven't done a video for ages. I've just had like no time or something, or haven't got around to it or something, so. But I've got tons and tons of stuff I've bought to show you though, some really cool bits and pieces. So there's some reissues and some charity shop stuff and some eBay things as well, and some, all from bits from all over the place. So it's a really good mix of stuff. So I'll see if I can get through it all. There's quite a big pile here actually looking at it now. The first one is this one. This is an Electric Storm by the White Noise, which is a very famous old album from 1968. If you ever read any lists of the 50 best electronic albums ever or whatever, this is always in it. Really great. It's just very wacky. It's got Delia Derbyshire on it, who was in the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and it's not the Doctor Who theme and things like that. So very early full-on electronic record. She's really quite rare. This is not an original first edition. They're really rare. This is a slightly later one on Island. There, and it's in pretty good nick. It wasn't that expensive, so it was from my local record store. I just sort of wandered in one day and it was there, which was really nice because I've been looking for it for ages. So I was really pleased with that. Definitely a really good find, that one. And also I did finally buckle and buy a copy of Low by David Bowie. I'm not really a very big fan of David Bowie, to be honest. I think he's very overrated. But I do really like the second side of this, with the weird electronic-y bits on the second side, the sort of the Eno stuff. Really big cluster and Noi kind of influence on this album. A big cluster and Noi fan, so that's definitely probably it's the only one I really like, to be honest. I think I do really rate the second side of this. I think it's really good. I think this is not an original. This is a slightly later one. This is a 1980, I think, reissue on RCA International. But say it was only a few quid, and I have been after it, so that was a nice one. This is probably the best one I've found lately. I think this is an album by a band called Grrr, or Grrr, or I'm not sure how it's pronounced. This is an album by a Dutch punk band from the early 80s in a town called Verma in the Netherlands, and they had sort of a little sort of do-it-yourself punk movement there, I gather, with quite a few bands. And this is privately pressed as well, private pressing, and it's got all its original knickknacks inside and everything as well. Really good, a nice lyric sheet and everything. A little sheet of ads and stuff. It's got just no plain labels. You see white there, side Wit and Zwart. Obviously it's a Dutch album, that's what the sides are listed on as the back. Nice artwork as well. This is actually pressed by Porky Prime as well, which is the guy who did all of Joy Division's albums and the Falls stuff, I think, as well. No, not the Falls, stuff, Rough Trade, Cabaret Voltaire, that sort of thing. They're always really nice pressings as well. This is a really good nick as well. I think that cost about £5. And this is very unusual. This goes for sort of between £20 and £40 on Discogs at the moment, which is pretty damn good. So I'm hoping that'll be a nice investment, that one. Very weird. I doubt I'll see it again, so I thought I'd better grab it. Also at the same time I also had this one as well. This is The Drowning of Lucy Hamilton, which is a soundtrack to a Richard Kern movie. I think Richard Kern is sort of a New York art film director in the 80s. And this is Lydia Lunch and Lucy Hamilton. Lydia Lunch, obviously from Teenage Jesus, and that whole no wave scene. And this is, yeah, like I say, just this is a soundtrack, sort of backing sounds to a film. She was in the film, and also J.G. Thirlwell from Fetus was in the the film as well. And that's them on the back there. If you can see, that's Lydia Lunch and Lucy Hamilton on the back there. This is really quite mad, very dark, very avant. So with a nice industrial vibe, which is the sort of thing I like. So I was really chuffed with that. And I also at the same time had this other one, this Lydia Lunch album as well, 1313, which is not in great nick, if I'm honest. There's a little bit of damage on it, on the spine, and a little sticker rip on the corner there, but it sounds great. It was a bit dirty, but it cleaned up quite nicely. And I was just really impressed with this, to be honest. I've not really played any of their stuff before. This has got quite a nice sort of wavy, grungy type vibe to it, which is really nice. I wasn't really too sure what to expect, to be honest. So I was very pleasantly surprised by that. That's very good. I think this is on. I can't remember what label this is on. Ruby, I think. Ruby Records. But yeah, very cool. Right, as well, I've got a few charity shoppy pieces, a couple of classical bits, just so that everyone knows I haven't lost my position as king of the charity shop drop. I've got, this is the first one I had. This is very rare. This is a compilation, Ernst Bloch, Schoenberg and Alban Berg compilation. This is sort of a hand-numbered, if you can see the bottom corner there, hand-numbered sort of special edition release. This is quite old. I'm not sure what year this was. 1962, and I got this for £1. And this is a really nice example of kind of classical composers making the leap into soundtracking films, sort of very early soundtrack work by classical musicians. And I say it's got two pieces by Bloch, one by Schoenberg and one by Berg. So that's really nice. It's sort of the Schoenberg one in particular is quite avant, which is nice. I'm really into that kind of thing. So I thought it was really nice little find that. And this is lovely nick as well. There's a couple of these going on eBay now for sort of 20 quid. So I think for £1 that's bloody good. And another one, this was a really mad one. It's one of the best covers I've ever seen of an album. This is Leonard Bernstein conducting the London Symphony Orchestra doing the Rite of String by Igor Stravinsky. I purely bought this. I mean, I've got this already. This is one of my favourite classical pieces. I think everyone knows the Rite of Spring. If you've seen Fantasia with the sequence with the dinosaurs. And everything in Fantasia, that's the Rite of Spring. And the cover of this is mad. It's this giant Stravinsky's massive head coming over this garden or something. And this is very peculiar. I actually made an entry for this on Discogs because it appears to be a sort of a UK English translated version of a French CBS album. There's the entry for this, but it's got the La Sacrée du Printemps, or whatever it is, the French or Latin name of the piece on the cover, and it's all in French. So this is in English, and this appears to be the only one there is on Discogs at the moment. I like to enter it myself, so I'm hoping maybe in the future this might turn out to be a nice little rarity. So I thought that was a good little punt for a couple of quid. So. And I think it's worth it just for the cover anyway. That cover is just brilliant. Really pleased. I've got some reissues now as well. I bought lots of reissues lately. I don't know why. Particularly stuff I liked. This is a good one. Radiohead, Kid A. Ooh, popping out a bit there. This is on like a double 10-inch, like in a gatefold, which is really cool. I wanted like an LP of this, but it was never released on an LP. It was only ever released on this sort of double 10-inch format, which is really weird. And it actually sounds really cool. It looks really smart, I think. So I was really pleased with that. I think this is last year, 2013, on Capital EMI. This is so very cool. That's a really good album as well. I'm not overly mad on Radiohead as a rule, but I say this album's really very abstract, very electronic, and I like the vocal style's quite good. It's very sort of cut and paste, collage-y type vocals, which is quite good. Very big sort of Aphex Twin, Talking Heads kind of influence on it as well. Very Remaining Light vibe, and say a lot of mad sort of warp, Aphex Twin warp kind of influence going on as well, which is really cool. So that's a good one. I've got lots of Cluster and Harmonia stuff as well. I think I have the second Harmonia album, Deluxe. This is I think 2012 reissue on Lilith. It's the one with the strip and the CD again. I really rate these. I've got lots of these and they're really good. So like original Krautrock stuff is extremely expensive. I think this is nowhere near as good as Music von Harmonia. This is definitely more a noise sounding record than it is a Cluster sounding record. I think Michael Rother was at the or Michael Rother, or however you pronounce it, was more at the controls of this one than Mobius and Radiohead. So still very good, still very good. I think I prefer the second side to the first side, but yeah, not as good as Music von Harmonia, but still definitely worth getting. Nice photo of them having a relax by the river there as well. Very cool. Also the Zucker Zeit by Cluster. This is the third Cluster album. This is released just after Cluster 2. I think this is released in the sequence of things. I think it goes Cluster 71, Cluster 2, then the Harmonia stuff, and then this one afterwards, I think. So this is quite a weird jump for Cluster because they've moved away from sort of really long droney abstract pieces, and this is sort of more short finished, sort of not pop sounding, but you know, it's a lot more melody in it, and the sort of little short finished jungly pieces, you know, which I think I really rate. And this hasn't aged a day, this album as well. It's you could put this on the radio now and know the difference, you know, light years ahead of its time. There's Radiohead and Mobius, a quite sweet picture of them on the back there. Against another Lilith reissue as well. These Lilith reissues are really great as well, so you can't really go wrong with them. You get a CD as well with it, so that's good. Right, I don't know what I'm doing for time. I've got this one here, Harmonia and Eno, 1976. This is a double LP set on Gronland. I think this is one. This is released this year or last year, and this is just kind of previously unreleased tapes by when Eno went to stay with Harmonia in Forsk, and I haven't really got around to playing this properly yet, if I'm honest. I'm sort of struggling with things to say about it, if I'm honest. I really need to play it again. I've given it a spin a couple of times. The sound quality is very good, actually, considering it's sort of rough copies, and it wasn't really released at the time it was recorded. So again, in following classic Harmonia and Cluster tradition, it sounds miles ahead of its time again. So that's a really great picture of Harmonia and Eno on the front as well. Really cool. So I really need to get around to giving that another go. Really good. Gronland Records, yeah. Another reissue on, this is on Poppy Disc, Forbidden Planet soundtrack. This is probably the first, or one of the first, if not the first, fully electronic soundtrack for a film. You might have noticed I'm quite into soundtracks for films. And this is really, I'll have to whip this out and show you. This is, apart from being a brilliant piece of music, it's also on this really smart green translucent vinyl as well, which is really wacky. That's this is really good as well. I think you could release this now as an album, as a finished piece of music, and it would, you know, people would go mad for it because it's so distinctive. I think when you hear it, you know it's Forbidden Planet straight away. It's got a really distinctive old crunchy analog sound to it, which is really, really nice. Especially the sequences with the you know, the giant invisible monster and things like this. You know, these sort of wailing noises and all this sort of fuzzy crackle and things. It's, you know, just what I like. I'm really into anything old and analog, synthesizer based stuff. I'm really into. So that's right up my street. I thoroughly everybody recommend to get a copy of that. There are old copies of it as well, but I think they're reasonably uncommon, and that was such a nice thing to have as well, with the green vinyl as well. Like, I couldn't really say no to that. So that's really nice. Now, by Louis and B.B. Barron, I forgot to say as well. That's the couple that composed the music for it. A couple more now. We've got that Angel Dust by Faith No More. That's on Music on Vinyl reissue, I think 2011, I think. No, 2013, yeah, sorry. Faith No More, I think, are one of the most influential sort of heavy bands ever. I mean, this album in particular, there's a lot of like modern, this is probably the first proper sort of new metal album maybe, and there's so many bands that are sort of really, I've heard records that are just copies of this. I mean, there's loads of bands like Tool and Mushroom Head and Rammstein and things. There's loads of modern bands that owe a lot to this sort of sound, and he was using a lot of keyboards and things, and you know, Mike Patton's vocals are really unusual, and there's a lot of mixes of styles all sort of chopped up and put together. You know, there's a bit of funk in there, a bit of thrashy stuff, and some sort of ballady parts. You know, this really weird mix of tracks. This is quite a dark album as well, so I'll say I thoroughly rate this completely. I think it's a really, really good record. Big Faith No More fan. That's really good. I think last but not least, I have Third by Portishead reissue as well. I think this is 2013 reissue again. This is the second one I got of this. I'm not sure who printed this. I wasn't overly impressed with the pressings on this. Mercury. This is the second one. I ordered one in from the chap in the record store. It came in all warped and scuffed, which was really weird. It was unopened. That's a gatefold again as well. With a nice Portishead, sort of fuzzy photos and things that they always go for. This is definitely, I think the best Portishead album. I find the first two a bit formulaic, if I'm honest, but this one is a full-on mad piece of work. Very long album, very long pieces, but there's some absolute gems on it. Silence and Machine Gun. Some of my favourite bits of music, definitely. Again, very distinctive. Portishead, you can spot them a mile away. You hear them for 2 seconds, you know it's them. See, this again, talking to one of my friends, this is very, very soundtracky. You know, I think Adrian Utley's very, very into soundtracky stuff. And all of his sort of avant electronics. So for me, that's definitely their best piece of work so far. I'd really like to see a new album by them pretty soon. So there we go. Hopefully that's plugged a gap I've left for videos for a while. Let me know what you think. There's quite a lot of stuff I've gone through there. I'm hoping to throw up another few videos pretty soon, because I haven't been making them lately, and I've bought a lot of stuff I'd like to chat about. So let me know what you think of that. Thanks very much. Bye.